Recording in progress.
I got that out.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are coming out of recess, going back into regular session to continue talking about budget. So, Francis?
Yes, sir. So today, our primary conversation will be on personnel request. And so Anna Picasso, our HR director, will present her information for next year as well as go through the request. And so that's our goal is to get through that today. And then, of course, tomorrow, our plan is to be here at 9 o'clock. And then tomorrow we will start hearing from departments and walking through department requests. So a lot to happen in the next 2.5.
Can I ask a question?
Of
real quick?
course.
Do we have any more outside entities who have not presented to us yet?
We have 2 that are going to be with us tomorrow.
Who would that be?
That would be
I need to know if
the
I'm-
Cove,
Okay,
Tim Packer, he will be joining by Zoom. And then we have Gene Boone with Syntex, the roundtable integration. I'm not saying
are those the only 2 we have left then?
yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
Cool.
They're,
Dr. Pepper's hot.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Anna,
of course.
is your latest deal on,
I'm about to share it on the screen.
It's also on the drive,
It's on the drive now,
under what?
Yes,
under personnel.
personnel budget review.
it's the PDF. I think it's like,
So if you-
I got it. Thank you.
You printed big stuff for you. I like
That's
that.
how it prints off, yeah, I don't mind it at all. Doesn't kind of fit in my notebook, but.
okay. So I am going to just start off with a brief summary of yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Do you have the microphone in front of you? Oh, I see it now, yeah.
So I was going to start off with just some of the bigger personnel budget decisions that were made for fiscal year '26, so last year for this year. And then I'll go into metrics, workforce metrics, and a summary of our compensation survey, as well as just a baseline of data for the court to have as they deliberate budget decisions for personnel this coming year. Following that overview, I'll also give a summary of pay programs currently, what the budget was this past year, what the progress is throughout this year, and what they're forecasted to be towards the end of this year and into next year. And following that, we can get into that. We'll get into those specific requests submitted by each department. That includes add to staffs and individual position salary increase requests as well. And then I can review the HR assessments for each of those individual requests. I believe there's a little over 80 of those. And like in previous years, that's when we kind of transition over from my presentation to a long list, a spreadsheet where it gives an overview of each request line by line, and we can walk through those by department. And I'll get started. So here we have an overview of the adjustments implemented for this fiscal year. And so all positions that are not a part of the STEP plan received the cost of living adjustment that was estimated by HR, and that's a 1.76%. And then we had a market adjustment applied to the STEP pay plan. So that's 4.72%. And so that amount was applied to the STEP plan. So that's every rank, and then every step within each rank had this percentage applied to it. So employees received that, and then they received their scheduled step up based on their anniversary date. And then on the far right-hand side, we have a quick summary of all the adds to staff that were added to budget in fiscal year '25, and then positions that were added during the current fiscal year, and then, I'm sorry, at budget for this current fiscal year, and then positions that were added mid-year this current year as well.
So in a year and a half, basically what you're saying, a year and a half on these positions over here,
Yes, sir.
we added 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 19, 20, 22 positions in a year and a half?
Yes, and then I give this quick snapshot, but in the auditor's budget binder, they have a much prettier summary of all of the amounts of positions by year, all the way back to fiscal year 19. If you're interested in going,
Have we filled all 10 of those jailer positions?
there are vacancies right now. I don't know the exact amount, but they are not all filled. But that ebbs and flows throughout the year. That,
Right. Thank you.
oops. All right. So next I have a summary of the salary survey that HR conducts. We have 200 position titles that we benchmark as a part of this survey summary. In 2024, we had we contracted with 2 compensation consultants who came in, and one of those did this benchmark survey on behalf of the county. We were sure to ask and probe about their process, their method, to ensure that we incorporated those methods in our surveys moving forward. And so much of the template of our survey that is in effect now, we actually took a lot of that from those consultants. So we wanted to be sure to leverage their time with us, and so we learned a good deal about the methodology.
Question about there. Have you ever run the numbers to see how either up or down the city of Waco skews our peer agency numbers?
Her peer agency number.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever seen what it looked like without it and then with it?
So not, the only kind of isolated assessment for the city of Waco that we've done is just to get an average of about 5 years worth of their adjustments. And actually it was actually longer, almost closer to 10 years. When you average it out, the aggregate of those percentage increases are actually not that different from ours.
Okay.
So I would say it would not skew that information very far for civilian positions.
For civilian positions?
Yes, so those are actually, over the span of a year on aggregate, it's not that different from us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So that's a change that, not a drastic change. A lot of the methods that we were using prior to that were similar, and so we just tweaked to try to better match the processes that the consultant recommended for their based off their benchmark survey. Another recent change in the salary survey is the update made to the list of peer agencies that we survey as a part of the benchmarking survey. And so I have there in that second from the left column, their updated peer agencies. So these are the agencies used in this survey. And so this is different last year and previous years. We had a longer list. We had 9 peer agency or peer counties that we used, and now we only have 6 incorporated into this list, plus City of Waco. And so the counties that were removed were Hays, Bell, Brazoria, and Galveston. And we had one differing county that was added to this list, this updated list, and that's Guadalupe. So we had not used Guadalupe in the past, and they are now a part of this peer agency list. This makes up 100%, the peer agencies make up 100% of the survey conducted for positions that are a part of the STEP plan. So those are sheriff's office, peace officers, and jailers. For all the non-STEP positions, so mostly civilian positions, some peace officers that are in the DAs and constables. For those positions, we use these peer agencies, and when applicable, we use private sector data from Economic Research Institute. Those are one of those databases that we got from the consultant, and they shared their experience with that database. And so we narrow private sector data down to the Waco region. So both sets of data, the private sector and the peer agencies, are weighted at 50% as a part of the survey. And on the two right-hand columns, you see the summary, and these are the results of that survey. And so for non-STEP positions, so all positions that are not a part of the STEP plan, the comp ratio average amongst all the positions is 1.03. The positions that are non-STEP positions that were below a 0.80, remember our range that we want to target for all positions is ratios between a 0.80 and a 1.2. That means positions are in either direction within 20% of market average. That's what that range indicates. So we actually have no positions below a 0.80 or more than 20% below market. And we have 35 position titles that are, or 35 positions that are below 0.9. So we have about 35 positions that are over 10% below market.
So these numbers refer to our positions.
Yes.
So we're overall at a 1.03, which means we're 3/100th of a
3% over
3%,
market.
3% basically above the average for our peers
Yes.
overall.
Yes. I do have kind of a disclaimer and something that I want to highlight for the court about that 1.03. So that average comp ratio for positions that are not STEP positions, that actually took a big swing up as a result of the change in the peer agency list. So last year's compensation ratio average for these positions was 0.97, so 3% below. So we got a 6% swing up. The counties that were removed, Hayes, Bell, and Galveston specifically, just from us doing this annually, we know that they pay civilian positions very well. So we removed that and we replaced these counties with Guadalupe County, which from our first assessment and walk through Galveston County's budgeted positions, we could see they seem to pay their civilian positions a lot lower. And so that really made an impact on this comp ratio average for those positions. So I might weigh this 1.03 less than another metric that you would use to measure workforce health, and that would be turnover. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on turnover metrics during this presentation because I feel like that actually is this year a better indicator of where pay is at for these non-STEP positions and not so much comp ratio, primarily because of that big swing, 6%. Just going back to the previous slide, the cost of living adjustments for positions that are not a part of the STEP pay plan was 1.76%. On average, the counties that remain in our list, the cost of living adjustment that they applied to their position on average was 2.9%. So that would not have accounted for, that should not equal a 6% swing in this comp ratio. So I highlight those as something to consider for the court. Okay, so then we have, I'm sorry, my little windows are in the way. STEP plan survey. So this is 100% only the updated peer agencies, that there's no comparable private sector data that would apply here. So it is only updated peer agencies. So the survey summary for these positions, I've broken up, I have as overall average was a 0.98, so about 2% below market. And then I break it up between the two different structures of the STEP A plan, the corrections structure and the law enforcement structure. So everybody at the jail, their structure ratio is 1.01. And for the law enforcement structure, their comp ratio is a 0.96, so about 4% below market. And then we have no positions in either structure that are below, that has a midpoint that's below 10% market, so below that 0.9 ratio. Any questions about the survey summary?
On the step plan survey, what's your, who are we comparing to county-wise? Is it the same list?
It's the same updated peer agency list,
Except
stopping
for
at
this-
City of Waco, because we would not include the private sector salary data, because that's not applicable. I will say the private sector data was really flat this year, too. So private sector salary increases seemed to,
Say it again.
the private sector salary data seemed to be pretty flat from last year to this year
Not a
as
lot of
well.
difference.
Yeah, on aggregate, we assess the percentage difference and increase there, and there's not a, there wasn't a lot of money doled out in private sector.
Per the commissioner's question, you use the same peer agencies, SOs or law enforcement agencies to, and Waco to
Yes.
get these numbers here.
Yes, sir?
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I think that we have to, and you and I spoke about Bell County in the office, because they're kind of like our closest competitor. I mean, they're a little larger than we are, but how do we, so how do we compare to, how does that skew the number when we take,
So I can
Where you
run the Bell County numbers. And, I mean, we can, because we discussed it kind of throughout the retreats. And so that can be something that I present at a later time, like looking at them at an individual basis. And we don't normally like to look at what results does it come out with and then base it on that. Historically, we would base it on
Yeah.
factors
Right.
outside
And
of
it
that.
could be just, I understand where you're going with all this and the turnover, but
I'm just curious if,
just curious if they're,
Yeah.
poaching our folks.
I don't know if they're poaching any civilian folks,
But-
but I know since last year, we have been keeping an updated list on the law enforcement side, because there's a system where you can track where someone may carry a license at another agency. And Bell County is one of the common ones on that side that has jailers that have left to go to Bell County. It's probably one of the more common ones. But yeah, we can run a full, kind of a better thorough assessment, specific or isolated to Bell County, if the court wants to see that. Any other questions?
Any questions?
no, but in that, what Commissioner Jones is talking about, what might be nice to know as well is that, what's their revenue? Is their revenue close to ours? I mean, we're comparing salaries and all, that's fine and dandy, but really we gotta be looking at revenues, right? Because that's where it's gonna come from. And if their revenue is far greater than ours, their tax rate, I don't wanna bog you down in things, but I'm saying then just looking at what they pay, we also should look at what their tax rate is, what their tax
is-
base is, their revenue. You've got that weighted in.
So that is one of the additional factors that were added when selecting the updated peer agencies, was the taxable value. And so
Okay.
those counties closest to us in taxable value, population size, and there's a third factor, and I'm trying to think of it.
Bell County has 407,000 people.
Yeah, they're also a lot larger. So it was taxable value, population. There's an additional, GDP, county GDP.
Okay.
Thank you, Dustin. County GDP was the third factor.
Okay.
But those had been factors. Taxable value was the newest factor. And so based on those three factors, we narrowed counties that were closest to us for those three factors, and that's where these counties came into play. Okay. So now I'm going to cover our staffing metrics related to turnover. So in the last retreat, we had, there were a lot of good questions from the court related to turnover and wanting to really filter down in the turnover data as to the reasons why people were leaving or the reasons prompting turnover. And so we've now separated turnover into a few different categories. And so the first chart here on the right is just our general annual turnover. This is an aggregate of turnover for all reasons. So this includes separations, resignations, and retirements. This is the big number altogether. And we've broken it out we have a whole countywide number, and then we've broken it out by our major employee groups as well. And so here at the bottom, in this kind of light greenish color, this is the turnover for the sheriff's office, law enforcement. And I even have a number there, that's about 124 employees. Then the next lineup in red, that is the countywide turnover for non-step positions, so everybody not on the step plan. That's about 686 employees. Then the lineup from that, that's the countywide number. That's everyone all in a big group. That's their turnover. And then the top line there is the jail isolated. That's about 302 employees. And so that's the turnover there. And then I did the 5-year look back. We got it from 2022 all the way through projected 2026. So that's this is based on year-to-date turnover, and we span that out based on what we have turnover now. This is where we're projecting our turnover to be for 2026. And on the left, we have countywide turnover by reason. So these are all employee groups together, and we have the turnover sparsed out by reason. So that top red line, these are our resignations. So all county employees, turnover caused by resignations across all departments. And then the bright green line, those are separations. So they left involuntarily, whether by resignation in lieu of separation or a straight separation. And then the last line there, those are our retirements countywide. So I have in both charts here in red highlighted areas of concern for the court. And so on the right-hand side, those non-step positions and their general turnover, we've actually had an experience decrease for turnover in that group consistently for 4 years. And this year, we're projected to have our first uptick in turnover for that group. And then in the left-hand side, the countywide turnover by reason, we again have pretty consistent decrease in resignation-related turnover, and we've got an uptick projected for 2026 when we narrow it down to the resignations.
So you're saying from 2025 to 2026, on the left-hand side, that's a 0.4?
%.
0.4. So how does that translate into numbers?
People-wise,
Yeah, actual bodies.
bodies.
So,
What, we got 1,100 employees total?
yes.
So 0.4 times 1,100?
Well, I have numbers on the next
Oh, okay.
slide.
Got ahead, sorry.
Hey, great minds think alike.
Racing on.
And so here, these are our projections on the left-hand side, I think is what you're looking for. But if you wanted another format, or maybe it's not what you're looking for, I mean, we could put those numbers together. So I have two tables here, one breaking down resignation turnover by employee group, and then on the left, I have employees leaving for better jobs specifically, not just, these are narrowed down from even resignations, just general resignations, to these are the employees who identified leaving for a better job. And so we have it broken out by employee group, and so there we have in red, the non-step employee group, and then in the light blue, we have step pay employees.
So we actually had more non-step employees leaving than we did step pay employees. Is that what you're saying?
For better jobs. Yes.
Hey, one time, going back real quick on the jail turnover,
Sure.
isn't that number still below the state average?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. And the state average somewhere around 28 to 30? Do you
I don't know
remember?
the number off the top. I actually thought it was higher than 30, but
Is it, I just remember one time reading that something, I just knew ours was lower than the state average.
yes, I haven't run the state average with 2020, complete 2025 data, so I don't know what it is right now, but previous to that, yes, it had been
Thank you.
higher. I wouldn't expect it to be much different this year. Something of note for the employees leaving for better jobs, that amount is at a 5-year, it's projected to be at a 5-year high for this 2026 year. And then the resignation turnover for non-step employees had been decreasing. We got a plateau from 2024 to 2025, and we are projected to have almost a whole percentage increase is projected for 2026 of non-step employees resigning or leaving voluntarily. And the light blue is folks on step pay and that resignation turnover, and we have actually, I think, had great strides there. We have a decrease over the last couple years. And we're projected to have a decrease this year.
Judge, could part of that non-step employees leaving because we're doing such a good job in economic development and bringing in these businesses that have these floors with higher starting salaries?
Gives them a good option to consider that, for sure. But the fact that the turnover rate on step plan employees is going down says that the step plan program that's been presented is working, correct?
I believe so. There's another metric I'll show in the next slide. It kind of builds on that result. I believe it's a good plan and it's working. Any questions about turnover? I'm about to jump topics. Okay. So in the May retreat, I think Commissioner Perry had mentioned wanting to see some kind of history of previous requests. And I wasn't sure if that was specific to individual kind of line or position request or requests related to pay programs. So I started with the pay program history just because, again, the auditor's office has done a great job of compiling history for position ads in their budget binder. So I pivoted to just pay program history. And then I've also, the only recent kind of big changes in pay programs have been related to the sheriff's office. And so I'm highlighting those updates in their pay programs or added pay programs. And then I've put that underneath, kind of coinciding with the history of their turnover as well. So the court can see impact, if any, for those investments. And so I have at the very bottom, The turnover at the top is similar to what we just went through. It's actually the same as what we just went through. Again, you're just seeing that juxtaposed with the pay programs. So I have the effective date of the programs or the increases. I have the cost of living applied countywide or specific to non-step positions. And then I have the adjustments or cost of living applied to a step table. And then the pay program history at the bottom. So you could see in October 2023, going into fiscal year '24, we had the new pay program of night shift differential approved. And then the following year, the new step plan recommended by the visiting consultants was approved. Once implemented, that averaged out to about a 6.8% increase for everyone on that step plan. And then the following year, or this year, is the inception year of the FTO, or the training pay program for the sheriff's office. In addition to that, 4.72 adjustment to the plan itself. And so this is kind of that pay history, but if there's additional pay history outside of this, plus the request for added positions, just let me know and we can put something together for that. Are there any questions on this?
Any questions? Proceed.
So in the retreat in May, I had mentioned or touched on that we had just launched a new exit survey last July 2025. This is some preliminary data that we're pulling from the survey. We ask a lot more questions in the survey. This is just kind of the information I was able to compile that I felt had something to say, I should say. The survey is fairly new. Our response rate is only 33%. I'd like some more time and a higher response rate to really be able to present results that I feel like actually indicate or display a need of something or of an action. But this is where this is at currently. And so 33% response rate, 25% of responses submitted are by employees that left involuntarily. 66% of those who responded would recommend McLennan County as an employer. So that means even some of those folks that left involuntarily would still recommend McLennan County as an employer. So I feel like that's starting to display good results, or a good reflection of what the county is doing for the workforce. But again, I'd really want a larger sample size
What
of.
would you consider a valid number, response rate to make it valid?
I'd really like over 50%
like over
of a response rate, yes.
Well, you know, the polls, after 1%, can predict a presidential winner. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's not in that business.
I'm
Not yet.
not in that business, no.
Okay.
Then 16% of those responses identified pay as the reason for resignation. So yes, I should probably be more specific. I'd like 50% of a response rate for each category of employee, both folks on, leaving that were on the step pay plan and those that were not on the step pay plan, because I think only then could we get a good reflection of both of those pay programs.
Curiosity, 16% of responses identified pay as the reason for resignation. What was the next highest, like moving? Would that have been
No, I think it was work-life balance
work-life balance? Okay,
was the next, or a work schedule.
what I need.
Like a combination of work schedule and work-life balance.
okay.
Yours is about to change, buddy.
Oh, it-
Up next, we have our cost of living adjustment estimates. And so HR puts this currently at a 3.72. As just a refresher of how we calculate this number, it's become a very standardized process. It's been the same formula and data sourced for the past 5 years. We compare a quarter of CPI data, the Consumer Price Index, we pull straight from the Bureau of Labor Statistic, to last year's same quarter, using that very formula you see on the screen. We use a specific subset of the CPI, that's the CPIW, And the reason we use that is because that is what the Social Security Administration uses. And so we try to follow their template. And then not only do we use that subset, we narrow it to be tailored more to our workforce by narrowing the region. So this is CPIW of the South region, which includes Texas. So applying that same process that we have it, CPI included from March, April, May. Those are the months included. June has not been released yet. June should be released mid-July this month. So once that's released, we'll update this number with our final update for the court. So mid-July is usually when we provide you that final number, where this is as
Are you-
close as we're going to get it for y'all.
Are you expecting it to go down a little bit or not?
I don't know. It's been trending upward, and I know there's been things with, oil and
Oil
gas
Drive
prices,
it
but
so much, yeah.
oil is like one.
It's not X food and energy?
Food and energy probably.
It's a long list of all consumer items. It includes food, energy, transportation. It includes those line items. And so it's a line item in a long list of consumer goods. And so I don't know. It's hard to,
Well, what's good about this is we're actually, year to year to year to year, we're at, it's apples to apples to apples to apples to apples, nothing to apples. That's good.
Consistency. There's value in consistency.
it is a, I think it is in this same kind of explanation and the formula are published in the budget book that the auditor's office, posts online. And so I really like that. Employees can see how the sausage is made, so can the public. And I've really liked that, that consistency as well. Okay. So a new number coming soon. So next I have a pay program review. So see, these are some of the bigger or larger pay programs dollar-wise and participation-wise for county employees. And so I'm highlighting these, not just because the dollar value, but also many of these are newer programs. So it's probably a good time to see what the budget was for it last year, what it's projected to be at the end of this year, and then what the safe projections for fiscal year 27 budget would be, given current headcount and projections for headcount. So first, we have the FTO pay program. This is the newest program. This is the first year of that program. It was budgeted at $40,940, and that was based on estimates from the sheriff's office. The projected actuals for that are $73,352. So it's projected to be almost 8% over that initial budget estimate. It's a new program. We've reached out to the sheriff's office for more information related to what may be the cost so that we can get a more accurate estimate for budget need for next year.
All right, let's go again. The FTO pay, and that's, stands for both
Field training officer pay.
field training officer pay.
So both the jail and the law enforcement side, the patrol side, they conduct field training. That is mandated by TCOL. It requires this very in-depth training packet to be completed, and there are phases to these very set scheduled phases for each of these trainings for both jailers and patrol deputies. And employee has to be conducting and following this training through with this newer employee. So this person who is leading this training is receiving this FTO pay. Or field trip pay.
And how many FTOs do we have?
How many FTOs do we have? I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I can pull the number. I bet someone's pulling it right now as we speak. Because I don't know it off the top of my head. And can we move on to the next one and while I wait for that answer for you? So for step pay,
Okay.
we have that 2026 budget amount. We have 78 currently. 78.
78 training officers?
Are we training 78 people at the same time?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You're not saying we have 78,
So they might not be training.
that's all they're doing is training?
No. And so this would have been people who have at some point throughout this fiscal year trained someone. That does not mean they have consistently trained someone this entire year. Because there are phases to the program and not each phase is trained by the same person. So there might be a handoff for the next phase of the training program.
But no one's being paid to train if they don't have someone assigned to them, right? Just because they hold the credentials of an FTO
Right.
doesn't mean they get the, okay.
That's the so there in the policy are very specific duties that must be performed that would qualify someone to be able to note FTO pay on their timesheet. And so that could be engaged in training or writing up documentation related to training. So those are the two main things that must be done on work time that would qualify for the FTO hourly rate to be added to their regular rate. And so, sorry, they're giving me more specifics now. So we have 58 at the jail and 20 on the law enforcement side. And so we have now the step pay line item, again, relatively newer program. It's been, original implementation date was December of 2024. So we have here the 2026 budget at 2.7 million. And then the projected actuals are over 3.2 million. So we have an overage of about 18%, but there is an increase in headcount and average step placement. That's really the big driver here. And so I reference a table to the right, table B. So you can see on every rank, there's an increase in the average step placement of the plan. And so in 2024, this column here shows on average the step all employees began the program at. And 2026 shows the average step that employees are at now on the step pay plan. And so there's been increases there, which is good. I mean, there's retention happening. And then there's also a total headcount increase. So we went from 401 to 421. And so again, indicator that employees are being retained.
So the, all right, average step placement, just go for example, captain up at the top. In 2024, there were 2 people, or what does that 2.0 mean?
That's the number of steps they're at. So the step, let me pause this.
Say it,
2 to 4.
say it again, like, in 2024, you've got, for the captain, or you got 2.0, and then 2026, you have 4. So what is that 2 and that 4?
Those are the number of steps they have gone through in the plan.
Okay.
But that's kind of not a great example because I think there's 3 captains.
Was what?
There's 3 captains, so that average is kind of not the greatest example. Let's see.
So, but in 2026, 4 captains have gone through the step plan? Or the captains have gone through 4 step plans? What are you saying? That's what
Steps in their rank under the plan. I'm going to pull the step plan up here so
Sure.
you can see it.
Career progression or something like that. And that was,
Oh, sorry.
well, the program is a career building program. That was why it was established, and so, go ahead, I'm sorry.
On the budget side, I just wanted to add something in real quick on the step pay. Usually those budgets are kind of worst case scenario, but the previous policy, and Anna can correct me if I'm wrong, the previous policy had the step up at the beginning of the year, and then the policy changed to where it is on tenure date now. So there was kind of a double, like the step date, we just had to transition at some point. And so that's why, that's what created some of that overage as well.
the
So we
overage.
should not see that again, budget-wise, where we have that overage.
And so the projected 2027 need has that accounted. So once
Correct.
that's added, there shouldn't be a big jump.
Correct.
Okay, great.
And generally, all the budget projections are, ever how you want to say it, worst case, best case, most case,
First step, yes, sir.
first step, yeah.
So here we have the actual plan. And you can see on the left-hand side, you could see the steps are numbered. And so those numbers that you see in table B are these step numbers.
Okay, is that on one of these pages?
No.
Oh,
So here,
You got to send it to us, maybe.
yes,
I
I
don't
can
know if I
do
can see
that.
it. Excuse me.
Come on over.
I'm okay right here.
So here, step 2 for captains is 103,696. So now on average, most of them are at step 4. So they might be maxed out.
Okay, so most of them have gone through 4 steps then? Okay, I see what you're saying.
So right, at inception, they were placed at this step because they already had time in their rank. And so they didn't start off at 0. They might have started off at 2. And then now on average, they're at this higher step, step 4.
So if the number goes down, does that mean, like law enforcement sergeant went from 4.8 to 4.7, that somebody went down,
Well, that, if somebody could have left
left, and that's
who
why-
had a higher
And a new
step,
one.
and the
Okay.
average would have
Okay.
increased.
Okay, okay. Okay.
But it maxes out though. At some point, won't there be a,
We're at it, aren't we?
we'd be at, we're maxed out?
For some employees, there's a max out. So
Well,
Wendy-
I guess you could go to, never mind. You can go to the next step until you get to,
How many,
until you get to captain.
So,
but you could
That
max
makes
out
sense.
though.
yeah, so like the deputy,
Yeah, right.
so the deputy here maxes out at the 10th step, here 83,579. And the only way to make more than that at that point is either an entire step plan adjustment or they promote.
Promoted, yeah.
Yeah, they promote to corporal, and so then they start steps there. And then,
If they promote one at least as high as they were or higher.
right,
Always.
they would not get a pay
We
decrease.
adjusted all that, to make that work, okay,
They would not get a pay decrease. They would start
yeah.
at least where they were, 5% increase above that. Yes, sir. So that's the plan. And then, yes, I can send you this plan so that you have that handy. Pause. And go back to my presentation. But we did start, so the plan was implemented, and there were some folks, because they were here with the county for a long time, started at the max step. And so that is a thing that happened.
The way you have peanuts.
I don't know if Milky Way has peanuts.
So you're
or not.
saying somebody 4 years ago could have started at the max step?
2 years ago? Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And really all they would have gotten then is COLA in those years?
What adjustments that have been applied to the plan? So the 4.72% adjustment, they would have received an increase for that. Okay. So here we have the next program, the night shift differential, also fairly new. And we have that going above, projected to go above budget about 8%. And there's a slight projection to increase that for fiscal year '27. Again, just based on head count, there's additional positions now being accounted for. And then the last program here is the incentive pay program, slightly over budget. We now confirmed the payout for this year, and it was 36,373 over because last year projection based on previous payouts and eligible employees, there was an increase of eligible employees for this current payout. And there was some questions on how best to budget for incentive pay for the following year to not have an overage. And we're kind of at, we could budget worst case scenario if 100% of employees were eligible, which is not likely to happen. Then the budget need for that would be $690,032 based on that 100% eligibility. But that likely would be probably over $100,000 more than was necessary. Any questions on this review of?
But your 2026 projected actual was 517,728, and your budget projection 2027 is almost 700,000. That's a huge difference.
Because that is assuming 100% eligibility, which has never happened in the paper. So that would mean that there were no new hires, all employees under the incentive pay program have been here over a year and qualify for the program, and there were no disciplinary actions issued, and all positions are full.
So then is there a metric or a way to ballpark figure based on what you just said to project an actual number versus worst-case scenario number?
Yes, and so that's how it was budgeted for this past year.
We can do that, but I would not support, I would do it I would support it as long as it had a footnote that this is an estimate, and don't punish the employees because our estimate was wrong. See what I mean? So this year, they did an estimate, and it came up $30,000. The actual came up 30,000 more. And so your suggestion was that we cut back the incentives to the employees based off, because we budgeted and we didn't footnote it as estimate. So then in the discussion, we said, well, let's just max it out then. So now we're gonna be over budgeted and, further away from what there's no way that we're gonna,
Hit it on a note. But
yeah.
I might argue that we're not ever punishing the employees when we're giving them an incentive bonus, or what you want to call it, that's not part of their regular salary anyhow, regardless of how much it is.
Well, but, if you pitch out, this is what we're gonna do, and lay out a program, and then we change it because we estimated the number wrong. So, and I hate to over budget, that was one of the things we've been trying to
No, that's what we
eliminate.
get away from.
And we can back that off.
We can put a flat amount in and then make it work to that amount too.
So, okay, then we need to footnote the incentive program.
If you put a flat amount in and it's a percentage, it ends up being a less than 100% of what's needed, then theoretically you could adjust your payouts to that difference.
Yes, there can be a post-list adjustment.
And that way you would know you have the right amount in the budget if you put a flat amount in.
And that was the
Not to
recent,
exceed.
that was the recent policy amendment that was made
That's the reason you
yesterday.
put that in there. Yeah.
If the court wanted a budget as just a flat amount, that was an option.
And then we adjusted the payout according to that total.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we have just a more in-depth review of the incentive pay program. Some of this information I shared at the May retreat. It's just a refresher information of how the score is distributed. this year, and it followed a pretty typical bell curve there with most of the employees falling between that 3.5 and 4 ratio, which is a successful rating. A successful rating, and then we had folks on either end. We had highly successful employees above a 4.5, and then we had folks who were rated below a 3. We had about 30 of those employees. So that is a good indicator that supervisors are leveraging this tool to help employees improve, and they are notating deficiencies in these evaluations, which is good. And then some reminders of some other ways that HR uses or leverages these evaluations. And so one of those is referencing evaluations when supervisors come to HR for assistance to address either ongoing performance issues or conduct issues. We go back and see, well, how has this employee been performing? And so we just provided Elodia, our HR manager. She tracks and logs all of these supervisor interactions. And we referenced an evaluation in 50 of our 120 discipline reviews.
Is 120 pretty average?
It's consistently increased over
has
the past
consistently increased, you said?
5 years. Yes. The
Okay.
support to supervisors for things like conduct, performance, and discipline reviews for supervisors has consistently increased. And of those interactions with supervisors, 50 of those cases, we did review and reference evaluations that we had on file for the employee. And then so that's one way we use these evaluations as a tool. And then in addition to that, we're leveraging these evaluations and the incentive pay program, I should say, as a way to ensure training is completed. So any IT and HR training that's issued must be completed in order to be eligible to receive incentive pay for these incentive pay participating employees. So we're leveraging in that way as well. So I have adjustment options based on the comp ratio. So now I'm getting into kind of what dollar figures could start to look like for adjustments. I gave a summary of the comp ratios. If the court just wanted to see blanket adjustments based on comp ratios, this is what that would look like. So for all non-step positions, I have some scenarios there that, based on comp ratio. So in that first column, I have the cost to increase salaries to a 0.90. For non-step positions, there's only 35 of those. That would cost $65,328. We don't have any positions in corrections or law enforcement that are below that, so that's why there's an NA in that. And then the following column, we have the salary cost. I say salary cost because benefits and Social Security and things like that are not included. This is just to increase the base salary. Or just to increase the salary. So to bring non-step positions to a 1 ratio, that's 186 positions, you're looking at $588,991. There's no positions under the correction step structure that fall below the 1, and so that we move on to the law enforcement step structure. There are positions that are below 1. That's 139 positions that would be adjusted. That'd be $467,770 would be the price tag.
So you're saying under the correction jailers, under the step structure, we have no one below 1.0,
Right.
but we have the highest turnover rate. So that tells me that salary is not as big a deal for people leaving as it might be somewhere else. That they're leaving for some reason other than salary.
Right, and
Does that make
that's,
sense?
yes, and that it would be typical for shift work.
Work conditions, shift work.
12 hours stay on the concrete.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
But yes.
it's not salary related necessarily.
Exactly. And although it does look like the highest turnover it is been a typical number over the past 5 years. It's not anything that we would find unusual for the jail, but even if it's not unusual, our goal would always still be to try to decrease it.
And if we went to all non-step positions to 0.9, then we'd do away with we want everybody above 0.8, wouldn't we?
I'm sorry?
Well, we've always said as an agreement that we
0.8.
want everybody at least at a 0.8. That goes away if you move everybody to a 0.9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it? That's pretty basic, isn't it?
We're moving the goalposts there for you.
Years ago, when the jail decided to go to 2 shifts instead of 3, I mean, what was the driving factor in that? Do you remember that, Anna?
No, I don't have
wasn't
context for
around.
that. No.
She wasn't around.
No, that's been,
Were we here? I don't know if I was here.
I don't think I was.
I think it's been at least 16, 17 years.
It's been 2 shifts since I've been here, so, well, I mean, 4 shifts, but 1 day and 1 night shift, yeah.
That 12-hour shift in the jail is rotten.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I can see that for the folks, especially night, 12 hours a night shift. I worked there at night, but it was 11 P to 7 A, which was fantastic shift. It really was. But just wondering.
So these are just
I'll get some text on this one.
These are just very blanket options, not targeting any specific concerning employee metric. It's just, in the past, the court has asked, well, what if we put everyone at this ratio? Or what if we put everyone at a 1? Or, so I have this in here just in case the court wanted to see what that looked like, if they wanted to base it solely on the compensation ratio. Another adjustment option that I'm highlighting for the court, based on what I see here is a displayed need, is targeting justice clerks. So all clerks that are under the justice of the peace. So that would include JP clerks and JP court clerk chiefs. It's about 20 positions in the county, and I'm including employees under all precincts. You could see there in aggregate the turnover amongst these JP clerks over the past 5 years and the projected 2026 turnover. We're projecting a 5-year high turnover for this employee group. And then this past year to date, we have resignations in 3 precincts, 1 place 2, 3, and 5. So we feel like it is all precincts issue. We have multiple JP submitting salary request increases this year as well, so they've identified the need. And I have here cost scenarios to bring these specific positions to a comp ratio of 1, because both the clerk and the chief clerk are below a 1. The clerk is at a 0.91 ratio, it's about 9% below market, and the court clerk chief is at a 0.94, so about 6% below market. So if the court wanted to bring these positions to a 1 to attempt to address this turnover, the salary cost of that is $74,695.
2 comments.
Yes.
Those numbers can skyrocket when you have a small pool to start with, percentage-wise.
20.
And you lose 1 or 2 out of a very small pool, then you have a large percentage of loss. And secondly, there's an assumption that salaries why they're leaving. Or do you know that on the exit surveys?
So there is somebody in an exit survey who identified the JP office who actually identified pay as the reason for leaving. Yes, we didn't have a lot of these resignations actually complete the exit survey, because they do need to identify their office. And so we only had 1 who identified JPs as their.
You only had 1 of the ones that lost that identified salary.
That I even identified
I'm just
as
throwing
being
that out.
from the JP
Okay.
office.
Okay.
And so this is one we would highlight. And so we run these turnover numbers across all departments. So we bring forward any ones that we see have a pattern or trending increase of turnover. And so that's why these consistently over the past 4 years have shown a trending increase. Whenever there's a blip of an increase, but there's not a pattern, we're not bringing those forward. So this is being brought forward because since 2023, this number has steadily ticked up. That's why it's being highlighted for the court. Next, we have just compiled large numbers for the court. So we went ahead and applied the cost of living adjustment that's being forecasted for all non-step county positions. We're looking at this really as a need minimum because of those turnover metrics that I highlighted for the court in the previous slides. So we've got an uptick in turnover for the first time in 4 years, and then we have a 5-year high in resignations for better jobs with this employee group. And so this cost of living adjustment applied to these 686 positions is estimated to cost $1,698,696, just salary cost.
No cents, just $6.
No, we went ahead and rounded up for y'all.
I appreciate that for Jan.
Round up, that's 1.6, might as well say 2 million.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right. And then the next
Pencil.
cost that's expected for this fiscal year 2027 is the cost to maintain the step pay plan as it exists now, given an increase, projected increase in head count and where everybody will step up to next year. That cost is expected to be an additional $836,980. I went ahead and also highlighted the JP clerk adjustment option that I highlighted in the previous slide. And then we also reviewed all of the individual salary requests that were submitted for this fiscal year. And of those 56 salary requests, HR identified 9 of those as a recommended increase. And that's based on either
Is
a
that,
parity need and/or the position is a technical leadership position that requires some sort of licensing or higher education that would be difficult to fill.
is
The
that,
position was vacant.
that 9 you recommend, is that any to do with the JP clerks?
No.
Or chiefs? Okay.
So they would not overlap, the JP clerks and the salary increase request. So I removed that from these 9. And so all that,
But out of that 56, was there?
yes, there were
JPs.
JP requests.
Yeah.
But rather than to have them duplicated here, I removed them, right, yeah. So
So you're saying the JP clerks are not included in this?
they are in
the
that.
56, but not another 9.
Right, so they're, the JP clerks are.
I was wondering about this number here, that 56.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. But the JP clerks are included in that 20?
Yes.
The
Yes.
number 20?
Exactly, those are
Okay.
all of the
Okay.
JP clerk
Okay,
positions.
gotcha. Okay.
Out of that 56, how many JP clerks you think were?
All JP clerks with all JP offices with the exception of 1 place 2 and 2 submitted salary increases for their precincts. Salary increase requests for their precincts. And so I did not include those in these 9 so that it
Sure.
wouldn't duplicate these.
So this page, right here, page 13, is the total number of salary request increases if we factor in everything or not? Or what am I missing? What, all right, so what does this exclude then?
So 56 salary requests were submitted. The 56 are not all on here. Only 9 were identified by HR as,
Okay.
hey, there's some
Okay.
reason, there's some need
Okay,
here
so
for these.
excluding those 47, this is all this salary increase right here.
This is where we could see the salary need.
Needs.
Or this is baseline, this is where the court, we would recommend the court start their deliberations here with these baseline numbers. And then the court may determine, need based on all the data presented to be either above this or, but this is baseline, kind of the jumping point for the discussions for court.
Okay, and then, Francis, this 2.6, is it in this right here?
So we have COLA in there, and there will be some differences in numbers because of taxes and things. But COLA, we have there, you'll see the 2,080,000 compared to Anna's 1.7. And we'll get all that cleaned up. The step position increase, we see that as you've already bought into that plan. That plan's already part of the policy. So those are layered into your department budgets.
Okay.
Above the line. Those JP clerks and the salary increases, those are, of course, like Anna said, what she thinks are needs. And so they're embedded in those numbers that you're looking at.
Right here.
But that is all inclusive of all requests.
Right.
Because we
Okay.
wait for
But
Anna then to.
That
to let you know her
6.4
recommendation.
million includes all of this right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Any other questions?
So separately from individual position requests, we had 2 departments submit requests for new pay programs or supplement pay. The IT department and the maintenance and building departments were the requesting department. So IT requested certificate pay for their department. And an estimated cost of $1,755 based on current certifications. However, kind of worst case scenario, if everyone decided to go out and get a certification, HR estimated a need of $62,100. In there, we included metrics, department-specific metrics that we would use to determine need here. And so that would include the department turnover. That's at an 8.9% projection for this year. The department average compensation ratio is 1.03. And then we also included peer county practices. What are other peer counties doing? And then is this a current McLennan County benefit, like maybe in another office, and it is not. Same information for the maintenance of buildings request. So maintenance of buildings requested on-call pay and also overtime pay, as opposed to what they currently receive, which is comp time pay. So overtime in the form of leave balances. Still at time and a half.
They're wanting what now?
On-call pay,
So if they're on call, they get more money,
right,
even if they don't get called out? That's how it works, isn't it?
right.
Okay. And that would take the place of comp time?
No, those
No?
are two separate
Two separate issues?
pays.
They're just saying that instead of their comp time, they want overtime. So they're wanting to be paid to be on call, and then they're wanting overtime if they get called out instead of comp time.
Right.
Which would open Pandora's box up, quite honestly, if we.
Got that right.
So right now, the positions, the only other county positions that receive actual overtime pay are shift employees that are historically difficult to keep filled. And so that's jailers, juvenile detention officers, and jail medical staff. So these are shift employees, and then they historically have very high turnover. So that's the reason for them to receive overtime. Here for maintenance of buildings, we have very low turnover for this department. They have 3.03%. They have some of the lowest turnover in the county, which I think speaks volumes of that management of the department. And then they have high a high comp ratio, department average. So they have a comp ratio of 1.10 for that overtime pay. I mean, for that compensation ratio. And then for peer county averages, we have one county who actually offers overtime for all non-exempt employees. They actually do overtime pay for all employees who are non-exempt. We have one of the 6 peer counties that we've yet to receive a response from, but the other 4 peer counties do not offer overtime to facilities or maintenance departments. So just for reference. And then for the on-call pay, what are peer county? That is a pay currently that does not exist in any other McLennan County office. So that would be a whole new program. And then amongst peer counties, 4 do not offer on-call pay. And then we didn't receive a response from 2 of our peer
Have
counties.
any idea how many MOBs on any given night are on call?
I do not know. I was waiting department information on the rotation, frequency, and duration of calls.
Okay.
I did let TJ know that, I mean, with this transition over to time and attendance, that's going to be a lot easier to identify now because there's going to be timestamps on those clock-ins. And so we might have a lot better data next year on
Well, there's
What-
also, there's a list for our guys that are exempt, but there's a lot of non-exempt,
They're on call.
they're on call. So 4 times 3 right here probably, that's 12 more. I don't think you could do it for one or the other.
It's just, to me, all of these, certificate pay, on-call pay, overtime pay, all that, it should be a blanket, or we don't do it, because it's not, it's just not right to go, okay, well, we'll grant it over here, but you're not gonna get it for whatever reason, and we really wouldn't have a good reason to tell them why they couldn't, in my opinion.
I'm sure there's certificates that tax office gets, the DA's office,
Sheriff's office.
oh, yeah, definitely sheriff's office.
I don't quite understand the no peer counties offer certificate pay to IT departments. And right underneath it, it says 1 of 6 peer counties offer pay certificates to civilian positions. What's the difference in that?
Yes, good catch. So that's
IT
Smith County.
department, IT department, there's an IT department and then a civilian, and then,
Right. Yeah, good catch. So that 1 of 6 peer counties is Smith County. So Smith County does offer a form of certificate pay to some civilian positions. So they offer,
Tyler?
Tyler, yes.
I believe so.
It's really East Texas, you know.
So they offer certificate pay for, I believe, CPAs, attorneys, HR offices, for their HR office, and there was another office. They do not offer a certificate pay for their IT department, which that was strange. And so the other counties just don't offer certificate pay to IT departments. Typically, if they offer certificate pay, a few of them had it for their law enforcement offices, but not civilian positions. But yes, good catch. We thought that was strange. Okay.
Strange happening.
Next, I have the requests that were submitted for adds to staff and salary increases and reclassifications. I'll just give a quick overview of the positions here, but then we can jump right, if the court's ready, jump right into that big spreadsheet that outlines every request line by line, and we can start working through those.
Let me ask this, at some point on these new position requests, do we have HR's position on, agree or don't agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's in there.
Wait till
You're gonna
the
go
next
over that?
page.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta
Yes.
wait on another page? Okay, okay.
I have that. And HR's positions, the way we've kind of written them out is we have a yes, a no, or an other. And so the yeses, all we're saying is the department has provided, or we have compiled data that does display that there could be a need here for the position. That's what the yeses are. No means there is data and the data says there's not a display needed. An other means we may not have information, we're awaiting information, or the data just doesn't show in one direction or another that there's a need.
And you may recall that the court started focusing more, probably about 6, 7 years ago, on data-driven decisions on number of employees. In other words, how much work do they touch? And compared to others, is it a big load? And so if someone came in and said, well, they're carrying way more than anybody else, well, it might actually tell you that you need to really look at hiring another employee and putting in there. But I guess my point is that the data, and how much they touch, what they do, where you can do it, where you can, where it's feasible, is what we've been focusing on.
Before we move off this page, is there a dollar amount associated with all these requests?
Yeah, I think Frances has it in her
You'll give that to
summary.
us then?
It's on, yeah, and so that's on your sheet.
That's on this over here.
It's just all in, and then
Okay.
Anna will pare that down and let you know what her,
Okay, new positions then, that's that amount, new positions, just under 2 million. Okay.
That's if they were all,
If they were all,
Yes.
if all of these positions were approved, it's about $2 million.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Say it fast.
As the
That's rounded up.
question is, and with Anna's probably help now, but since I'm a new guy on the block, has the court ever said, well, let's move some positions from this spot to another spot? That's, if they're not needed?
I mean, somebody's overstaffed somewhere?
Yes.
Generally, we listen to the request from the elected officials or the
Department heads.
yeah, department heads, and, if they suggest that, fine, but it's kind of hard for us to get down and micromanage that kind of movement. Not knowing.
Yes, sir.
no, historically, that's not, the only instances I've seen that happen are amongst the road and bridge departments. For instance, the administrative assistants being condensed and shared between the precincts. So
Yeah.
those are really the only examples
Never heard of that.
that I have. Could y'all think of anything like that? I don't think that's ever
You just
happened.
asked. I appreciate it. I just asked, so.
Well, I haven't, in my time, I haven't seen anybody request a position and come back later and go, didn't really need it.
Yeah.
They're always gonna find a reason to have to have it and need it.
No, I
and keep it.
understand that, but
And
it's,
so, and hopefully, I mean, I would.
but with,
If they come in
I
and say,
guess
hey, giving these back.
the angle I'm looking at is technology keeps growing every year, and then, would you need 9 people in that position, whatever?
Generally around here, technology causes us to have more people.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And more money.
Hey, that's not pushed to the back there.
I just had to throw that.
That's
Like a
that's
salt.
eight ball in the corner pocket.
Well, thank y'all.
This is just a quick summary of the amount of positions that are being requested and then the departments that are requesting the positions.
Okay.
I break them out by reason behind the request.
Why you would never play basketball.
Now, before we get into, before we get into the big, long stuff, let's take a 5-minute recess. Then we'll come back and get into it, if that's okay. All right, good. Recess, 5 minutes.
Recording in progress.
Right now, which y'all have noticed.
All right, let's call court back in session. Okay,
It's really healthy, but.
HR has the floor, so Anna?
Yes, sir. So I was going to go into position requests.
Okay. Page 16.
16, okay.
Yes, 16. That's right. I have a correction, though. Precinct, I listed an add to staff, a heavy truck driver for Road and Bridge Precinct 3, and that's actually not correct. I think that was incorrect in your request.
What are you saying?
Yeah, that,
What page are you on?
you got it last year, so we don't need it this year.
Right. 16?
Page 16.
Oh, okay, under current, correction on current.
Right side of the page, Road
So
and Bridge
scratch-
Precinct 3.
Scratch 3,
Yes.
coming out of chute number 3.
Yeah, shoot number 3.
Wearing a boot and a tennis shoe.
One boot and a tennis shoe.
And we're,
Riding, one for running.
and we're removing it from that large list of requests. I've broken out I've grouped the request based on the reason that's prompting the request to give an overview for the court of where a lot of these are coming from before we get into the line by line review of the requests. So we have 4 requests being prompted by the expansion of felony courts to include the 170th and 474th district courts. And so those courts previously had handled civil family cases. They are general jurisdiction courts, so they are taking on distributed felony cases as well.
Did they give you a percentage of what they hope they could take?
20, wasn't it, something like that? There was a number. Yeah.
I've heard 10%
Was it 10?
per court.
So we can hire a head count for a 10% increase in the court's docket.
Four people.
Four people.
So we have 2 deputies being requested by the sheriff's office to help with bailiff functions for each of the courts. We have a criminal investigator being requested for the district attorney's office because they would also need to be delivering subpoenas for each of the courts, and and also doing background checks on any juries for jury trials scheduled in these courts.
So we hire this person because there's gonna be a 10% increase in felony cases, which there are none right now, so I'm assuming they're gonna take on 10, 15%, whatever the case may be. And then they're gonna hire a deputy that only has to be in there during that 10 or 15% of the time. I'm struggling making sense of why we would have a full-time employee just to cover a 10% increase in the.
And so and I'm glad you point out like the percentage, because it's not necessarily an increase. So there has been a trending increase in cases. But there's not cases filed, correct? But there's not necessarily like there's a 10% increase that they're just taking on and absorbing. The complication is now when you have 4 different courts concurrently handling a felony docket, that means there needs to be more bodies in more places at the same time. And that's really what the driving factor is here for these requests.
I just would need some explanation on why, let's say the 474th says, hey, 10% of our docket's now gonna be criminal. So we'll need the extra deputy in
I
here.
understand what you're saying.
That does not
I
make-
don't disagree.
I'm not following that very well.
And, you know, how many courthouse deputies do we have right now, or constables that work the courthouse,
Together?
total? So are they allocated where they need to be? You know, I guess my question. I can't answer. we need some explanation, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, we'll schedule getting that.
What is the rationale between for another assistant court administrator?
So the 170th District Court is the only district court that only has one court administrator. And so the request is because they're now going to be managing two types of case dockets, they want this additional assistant court administrator, because they are the only court that has one.
You know, I wish at some point we'd gone to a central office administrator that could have worked, you know, two or three people working different directions and handling all of it. Until I see the caseloads, it's hard to, and when you're brand new, I mean, there's no history of caseloads for this court to determine that. And it's been functioning all these years, obviously without. And now all of a sudden we need one, but have we seen an uptick in a lot of cases all of a sudden coming into that court?
No, not that I could see, but it is a trend increase upward for felony cases filed.
Filed. But cases
That actually go to trial.
actually go to trial or cases that are actually adjudicated somehow, there's a downward trend, numbers-wise.
That I don't know off the top
I
of my
thought we
head.
saw those numbers. Didn't we see those numbers somewhere? That we have fewer felony cases being disposed of? Isn't that right, Judge?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I can pull those, though. That is available.
I thought we
through-
were seeing an uptick in.
In filings, filings or arrest or filings or whatever, but as far as being disposed, I thought the numbers were down.
Disposed, I don't know, but that is something that's accessible on
Yeah.
the Office of Court Administration case database. So that is
Well,
something
when
I could put together.
It's not in this.
You know, when Major Ives was talking about how many felonies we have in the jail, you know, that's a
Oh, it's a large number, yeah.
Yeah, that
And
cost us
and
a
it
lot. I
costs us
know-
big bucks.
big bucks. And I know you talked about that, you know, before, that y'all tried to fix that or thought it was gonna fix it, but it didn't. But whenever that happened before, but there's a lot, millions of dollars with those felons staying in the jail.
So that's one of the driving factors for these position requests. And we have another group of positions that are being requested because of the expansion of county facilities. And so we have 4 of those. 2 of them right now are just dollar placeholders. It's just a kind of preemptive, hey, this is a need that we can foresee happening possibly in this next fiscal year. And that's 2 deputy positions for the sheriff's office. And that is related to the new justice center that's not operational yet, which is why they're just $1 placeholders, but they just are wanting to let the court know that once that is operational, that will have a full-time public access point that will have a screening station that will run similar to the one currently in the courthouse, that's manned by 2 individuals.
When does that come online?
Well, probably about this time next year. So we're about to budget time. That's why only $1 placeholders put in there in case it did open earlier.
Are there other requests that we could do the same with, knowing that they're gonna be
Well,
associated?
I just really don't. I really despise of the dollar placeholder. We got hammered this year
Yeah.
on dollar placeholders.
Well, then don't approve
I
it.
say just,
Yeah.
if it's, you know, we know that's gonna be there, fund it at full and give it back at the.
If we approve it, yeah.
If we're just talking about somebody at the door, is that what we're talking about? Somebody to man the door?
Yeah, because they're gonna have a major,
Well, it'd be like here.
Magnetometer.
Like the.
just like the front's gonna be at the back.
Yeah.
with the
There'll be
jurors.
one, there'll be 2. And then there's the one at juvenile, and is there one in, now where is 4D now?
Down the street here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's got,
Do they have a magnetometer there that?
I don't think they have a magnetometer. Dustin's gone, but,
Hope they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I bet they do. Yeah, they do too, yeah. That kind of court, yeah.
But Juvenile has a deputy and a part-time, or not part-time, a
Stall.
security.
Yeah, third vendor,
Yes.
security vendor.
How effective would they be versus a full-time salaried plus benefits in some of these places?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I know what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other two requests being prompted by this expansion of county facilities is for maintenance of buildings. There's a request for a custodian position and a maintenance tech 1 position. So these are requests actually that were brought forward
Oh, last year, wasn't it?
last year for this fiscal year as a need, because it's not necessarily hinged just on the Justice Center, although that is included. But that was also related to the other facility expansion, so that would include the IT facility on Washington and then the new facility on 25th Street. So that encompasses,
How are those being handled right now?
I don't know,
They're open.
that would be a TJ question.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of tough for them.
And so those requests were tabled this last year, and then he's just bringing forward the same need. Again, this year. We have requests being prompted, on the right-hand side, being prompted by work volume and/or they're supported by Pierre County staffing comparison. So when we pull Pierre County staffing, we can see that those departments and the other offices have a larger staff than McLennan County's. And then we may also have work volume to accompany the request as well in support of the request. So we have a sergeant position for the sheriff's office. The sergeant specifically is being requested to handle new internal affairs function that's actually being currently handled amongst 4 different leadership positions amongst the sheriff's office. And we know this because Elodia Vega, our HR manager, helps support each of those 4 supervisors in managing and addressing their internal affairs situations. So that's any reports of complaints, misconduct, or performance issues with peace officers and jailers. And those 4 leadership positions have their own full-time workload outside of managing individual employee issues. And so they want to centralize that to implement consistent practices amongst all their divisions. And then Elodia, like I said, keeps that log of employee relations interactions with each supervisor. And so she actually identifies a trend over the last 5 years of increases in these interactions. So there would be work volume to support that request. And then that being a sergeant level position, we did look at peer counties to see what rank typically handles something like internal affairs function, and it is typically a sergeant rank. So there's data to support the position in general, and then data to support the position at that rank of sergeant. Then we have JP Precinct 1, Place 2. They're requesting a JP clerk due to work volume, and then OCA data would support the volume would support the need for an additional position compared to the other precincts and their staffing levels. Then we have 2 jailer corporal positions being requested by the jail from the jail commission, jail population, and staff reports for other peer counties. There would be data to support the need for more staff at the jail. The purchasing department is requesting an assistant purchasing director position. Typically at other peer counties, there are assistant purchasing director positions, and then they do have a larger staff on average as well compared to the staff here at McLennan County for the purchasing department. And the auditors helped me with some history of work volume related to travel, credit card purchases and purchase orders, and there's been
I'm looking at that.
a consistent increase in that volume as well. So there'd be data to support that. Again, we're ignoring the Road and Bridge Precinct 3, that's an error, but there is a Precinct 4 Road and Bridge request for a heavy truck driver position. And like in previous years, I pulled center mile data from the Texas Department of Transportation, compared that against our peer agencies and their staff. And we only use road building staff, and McLennan County looks understaffed compared to the average staff of other peer agencies and what roads they're working with. So data to support that. And then we have jail medical requesting a registered nurse to help support fluctuations in intake and booking that happen on specific days of the week. Although there's not necessarily an increase in trend in booking, they do have data indicating an increase in chronic medical conditions of folks coming in. They believe that could be related to the aging population, so there's not necessarily an increase in bookings, but those that are being booked on average are older and have more chronic conditions. And so they have data showing how many medications have been dispensed over the past years, and those have increased on average, which means that's more conditions needing to be assessed on intake. So that's the data that they have to support that. We have here a couple more positions being requested. This we haven't fully assessed. We have one from the county sheriff's office. There's an additional deputy position being requested for their training division.
Where is that on?
Page 17.
Page 17.
Seen on the computer, but you don't have a computer.
Oh, I got out of whack here, okay. Okay.
You good?
I was looking at, where's Webb County?
Laredo.
Border.
Okay, okay.
Biggest deer in Texas.
14 employees in their purchasing department. 14.
Buying drugs.
There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on down there, so.
I guess so. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the additional deputy position for the county sheriff's office, the purpose for that is to help support the training division. They didn't indicate necessarily an increase in the volume of training that's being conducted. I know they do want to have a more robust training program. HR is never really going to be anti-training if it is functional and help serve operations. I just don't have any data on specifics of the training volume that's happening and how that's increased.
I visited with the chief deputy the other day, and he was not aware, but Judge, I think, and maybe Will, we increased the manpower and training probably 2020, somewhere in that ballpark, 2019, because they were gonna do classes and bring people in and generate revenue off of that, and it never happened. And so they got the training staff.
Yeah.
But that piece of it never came around, and so I would wanna know,
Yeah.
before we agreed on something like that, what happened in the last go-around?
They have 8 positions or individuals supporting their training division.
8 people?
The other thing that I would like to know along with that is how much is spent on sending law enforcement to training total in a year?
There's professional development.
Professional development, yeah.
We can, that should just all be
Because
encompassed
if we
in one
could,
line.
if we could figure out a way to pull that in and do it here locally and have it offset by those numbers, that would make more sense to me.
Well, we do, don't they bring in other counties for jailer training?
I think we get 1 or 2 outsiders most often. There's not very many.
So again, we
Do our
don't,
own, though.
Yes, yes, sir.
we just don't have enough data here to
Yeah.
go either way on this request. The next request is from the IT department, and there's actually been an update to the request. I have here listed a tier 3, and it's actually a tier 2 request, and that's a position that actually does already exist. The tier 3 didn't exist, but the tier 2 is a title that is currently within the IT department structure.
Sorry.
I like it.
I'm not gonna fly a jet.
He's watching
So
somebody's anthem for the soccer match.
the network administrator two, it's the same salary though.
I believe it is. All right, you're not updating the salary request, are you? No. Okay. So it is the same. I just need to update to be sure that we have this correct ratio being compared for the request. But we'll clean that up. We'll come back and clean that up in the list that we'll start to go through. And John did send me some information to look at and clarified some information related to all the network projects and which projects are being performed by a vendor and which projects are parts of projects are being handled in-house. And so I just need to go through and review that information, but that's why it still is a pending item. And then we have 3 requests here that are not supported by data. So we have data, it's just that it's not helpful to the request or isn't indicating a need. We have Constable Precinct 4 requesting 2 full-time positions, a clerk and a deputy constable. But the volume doesn't support, and so the volume that we use to assess the constables, there's papers received, and that's information that's stored in-house under EDOC. So IT actually helps us pull that data, and based on that data, both historically and year-to-date, it doesn't look like there's an increasing trend in that data. And actually, the volume compared to staffing levels amongst this precinct is less than that of the other precincts for the county. So another reason why there's not really data to support the request. However, it is one of the smaller staff constable's office.
And Judge Richardson is out of there, and he creates a lot of activity, and he spends a lot of time on the truancy and calls the parents back in, and so there's multiple visits when it just shows one person is what they're saying, so.
Yes, and I contacted the JP office to just see how many days out of the week that they're having these hearings so that I could incorporate that into the assessment year for the need for this constable deputy. And they stated that at most they have about 3 days out of the week that they have hearings. So there's currently 2 deputies at Constable Precinct 4, plus the constable themselves, and the volume of papers kind of dispersed amongst that staff compared to the other precincts is much less.
Yeah, and just repeating what they said, just so, also they have the tax office there, and there is money handled, and so, but I'm just repeating, or
Right.
communicating what they communicated.
And again, this is one of the smaller staffed offices. I think there's only one other office that has a smaller staff, and that's Precinct 3, where they have only one full-time deputy. And so if there were issues maybe with staffing coverages or for employee absences, things like that, there's also an option to see if a part-time deputy would assist them in something like that, at least for the meantime. They did have a full-time position ad in fiscal year 2024. So that is a newer staff or a newer added staff there for that
What was added?
precinct.
Clerk,
A full-time deputy.
full-time deputy? So they have a chief deputy and 2,
So they have currently 2 deputies. In addition to this, they are requesting that one of those positions be reclassified to a chief position, because they're actually the only precinct that doesn't have a dedicated chief position. So we're highlighting that as a recommended.
they don't have a chief constable. I mean, a chief
Deputy.
deputy.
Correct.
Oh. Okay.
And so they're making that request this year, which HR would be supportive of, because it is the only precinct that does not have a chief. Even the Precinct 3, where there's only one deputy, that's a chief deputy position that they have. So we would recommend that they also have one. So they have 2 deputies. When they added that deputy position in fiscal year '24, the intent behind that was to have that be that peace officer for that office, but also they would use that same position to help with the administrative functions of the office as well. And we have Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 bringing forward the request that was presented earlier this year. There was a mid-year request for a part-time employee to work 20 hours per week. The budgeted amount is $19,500. And there's not necessarily data to support the request, but it is a smaller office. There's 2 clerks there currently, and so they have identified whenever one of these folks is out, it kind of limits their ability to continue working backlog cases and continue progress on caseload when that person happens to be out. And so again, part-time staff. These precincts for the Constable Precinct 4 and JP Precinct 5, we see these requests similarly, where there's not necessarily data to support but because they are smaller offices, part-time staff may be a way to provide support for those offices. So that's an overview of the adds to staff, and then I have kind of as an appendix there, all of that volume, the data behind HR saying, yeah, we see there's data to support this. No, the data actually doesn't really display the need. And we identify the source of the information, and we've consistently used the same source of information, for instance, for the Justice of the Peace. We compare all the precincts amongst themselves, and we source this data from the Texas Office of Court Administration. We pull their case counts. Just this past year, something different that we started doing because Judge Richardson did identify that difference in how truancy cases are handled, and we confirmed it with OCA procedures that it is, at a minimum, truancy cases have 2 hearings. So we have added a truancy factor. And so any precinct who handles a truancy case, which is identified, it's labeled and categorized in OCA data, we extract that and apply a factor of 2 over the entire year, with the exception of non-school calendar months. So summer months wouldn't be included in that truancy factor. And then we break that up as cases per staff.
Note on precinct 3.
And so we did that same process this year as well to show the volume. And so I had, for example, shown the request for precinct 1, place 2. Their add to staff request is supported because you could see they have the cases they have the second highest cases per staff compared to the other precincts. So we could see the need there.
That's your
And then we
guy.
have the constable data, which is papers received, and that's sourced from EDOC, an internal database. And then we have work volume from the jail being sourced from the Texas Jail Commission, population and staffing reports, and we have that broken out by county. And you can see McLennan County has the second highest inmates per position ratio.
What page are you on now looking at?
This is on 19.
We'll go back to 18.
Sure.
Okay. Constable papers received, is there no way to come up with the number of constable papers served? I mean, I could have 1,000 of them sitting on my desk and they never go out, and I've received them.
Yes.
That makes sense?
But I think they've got timelines on all that has to be served by and
Yes.
by statute.
We'd be hearing about it if it wasn't. And there has been times we heard about it.
Yeah.
That's
It would just make more sense to me to have served instead of received. I can settle on them a long time, as long as legal. This is my opinion.
Just a comment real quickly, because it's baffled me in 2011, and it's baffling me on the way out. How we have always, since I've been here, I've never recall our jail pop being under 1,000. But we've increased our courts by how many courts? we've got a county court at law, we've got 2 district courts, how many? And yet the numbers are still going up. And I don't understand it. It's
Which numbers, I'm sorry?
your jail population.
Where are you on the next page?
Yeah, it's work volume data.
Work
It's what
volume?
she's got up here right now. If you'll just look at our jail pop,
Yeah.
and it just, it baffles me that we've added additional courts, and yet we're still, I mean, we've added to the DA's office since I've been here. Obviously, you have to since over 16 years, but I thought we would have been in a better spot now, considering what we've done, than we are.
It looks like everyone except for well, Lubbock and Smith went down from 22 to 26.
The population.
The jail populations, Commissioner?
They're asking everybody to be nicer.
Smith went down.
There's so many factors though that go into it.
Jefferson's almost flat, really.
A lot of them, they don't put them in jail.
They just don't go to jail.
What are the jail standards? Do you know what they require per inmate? I used to know it.
There's a commissioner down here.
How many per inmate?
Yeah, what is that?
48.
Per employee?
Yeah,
Or-
but keep in mind, you have to have more than that because they have to have breaks and do different things, so. But that hadn't really changed. The only thing I can think of, and somewhere down the road, we gotta consider this stuff, is the weekend inmate situation worth it? When you break it down at the end of the day and look at what it costs the county, the weekenders coming in, it's chaos out there on Friday afternoon.
Sure it is.
And they come in, and that's probably a lot of, they're asking for 2
So
corporals.
we still do that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a mess. I'm talking about, it's a mess out there when that happens.
The ones who get adjudicated to just serve on the weekend,
Right.
work release type deal.
You get a big peak in activity on Friday afternoon. And I'd hope somewhere down the road, we would have done a little bit of looking into that and see if,
And that is something that's not accounted for in the jail population data, is the duration of the stay. The inmates, so that,
But it's been up around at 1,400 for a while.
Yes, it is.
And has some federal inmates too, but I'm sure all that numbers together, but
It is.
it is, it's local.
I think when the jail
contract
standards
federal.
came and visited us, said we were like the 7th largest jail in Texas. That's pretty overwhelming.
saying a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that about? There's about, on any given time, there's what, 200 or 300 federal inmates, is that right?
Less than 300.
We would-
Now, it's been more in the 260 to 280.
So really, it's 1,100.
Sometimes in the low.
Still gotta have the employee to stand by.
Oh, God, you still gotta put, yeah.
Yeah.
That probably though nets out pretty good for us because of the contract.
It does, it does. And we just got that renegotiated, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think they make us money every year, right? The county.
I think you're right.
Makes money every year.
And we still have a ways to go to pay off that bond out there, I think.
On the right, you have the information source from TxDOT on center miles per road and bridge position, where McLean County is the second highest amount of miles per position compared to the peer agencies. And then the next set of data is jail medical related data that
It might be
show-
good on that, to break it down on the precincts also too.
You want it by precinct?
Yeah, to see that. I mean, not now, but just,
Yeah, I can send that to you. And then a note about that, and the TxDOT information, it lags behind, so that's 2024 data. So I think that's why I didn't pull, because I know there was a recent kind of redistribution of miles. And so I don't know how helpful that information would be because this information is from 2024.
So even if you go back and pull 2020, I mean, the most, I think engineering's got that.
Yeah, they do. 400 something acres.
I've got,
Oh, thank you. Okay.
down to,
I'll show you where it is.
got rid of 15 miles,
Yeah.
but no bridges.
Yeah.
This is newer information where some of this other information I'm pulling from sources you've seen before. The jail medical information, this is information sourced from the patient database used by the jail, which tracks the MedPass doses and intake forms completed per inmate. So there's been an increase in intake forms since 2020. The jail's saying a lot of that is related to new COVID, post-COVID requirements. And then the orange there are those increases in MedPass doses, which the
mean-
medications having to be
Okay.
distributed amongst the inmates and how often that's now having to happen. And that's been a steady increase over the year, even though there's not actually an increase in the jail population.
Okay, so 1,503,057. What is that number?
Doses given out
Doses given
in
out
365 days.
365 days?
And that could be because someone has to take 5 medications all at once. And so each of those are
When they're
counted
on the-
individually.
When they're on the street, they do not take medicine.
Oh, I know that,
We,
right, yeah. We're the,
taxpayers,
We take care of that.
take
part.
care of all that.
That's, you've got
we're the
a,
largest,
you've got a
the
third
largest
of
mental
your
institution
jail
in
pop
the,
that has
in the county.
mental health issues now too. So that medication.
Sure.
What was it, we used to say you could double, if they're on psychotropic meds, you can double the cost over a regular inmate.
Yeah, yeah, easy.
And we've got a lot more of that now.
And so this is just information from jail medical to show, yes, technically we don't have an increase in booking. However, on average, each individual inmate taken in has more needs. So even though there's no fluctuation in population or no large fluctuation in population, the activity level has still gone up. So this is-
4,000 doses a day. Give or take.
So at 1,400,
You're right about 1,400, okay. That's just under 3
Pills each,
a person.
3 doses a day per inmate,
or 3 pills a day, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I mean,
3 cups of medicine.
assuming they only take medication once a day. When most medications, you get nighttime, a daytime, so all of that's going to
Yeah,
be
they do
counted.
it, they do it in the morning and evenings.
And then we have on the right, this is the information I referenced that our HR manager puts together for every supervisor support requests. Or helping a supervisor or an employee who has a complaint. This is specific to the sheriff's office. She has this log for all departments that we help and support, but we narrowed it because the request is coming from the sheriff's office for this internal affairs position. We narrowed it to just the sheriff's office to show that need.
Y'all have these records?
This is an internal log that HR keeps for all departments and how we support the
So you've
supervisors.
got, okay.
Yes, sir. It's a big spreadsheet. So we have it broken down, not just by department, but also the situation that's being addressed. So is it a conduct situation? Is it a complaint being received? Is it
Well,
a performance? Is it an absenteeism issue? Is it, so all of that.
What's the most common complaint?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head.
But you're saying that's just for the sheriff's
That's
department
just SO
and
right
the
there.
jail, so
Yes.
like say on 4 Road and Bridge, what number are we at? I mean, or something like that.
Yeah, but this is gonna be a lot more serious a lot of times.
No, I got you, but, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but y'all take care of ours
Yes.
theoretically. So, or not theoretically you do, but,
But we help support y'all, and then they have, these are, major issues they're bringing forward. Usually, so the most common ones that are being brought forward, they're having us review because they involve the 614 notification of investigation process, which is unique to licensed peace officers. And
now,
licensed
is that number there like, say, one of our civilian employees is gonna get looked at for a criminal charge, would it go there too, or that's something totally different?
This is strictly in the jail, isn't it?
jail and sheriff's office
Yeah.
employees
Employees,
that are having,
but who,
Are they
okay,
LEs, all of them LEs, or they are civilian also? Like it's a civilian over at the sheriff's office?
Or at the
I
jail.
think she has included civilian positions in here. There's just so few of them. Usually
Yeah.
when we're dealing with an employee conduct issue or employee investigation or something, it's a peace officer or a jailer. But that's just proportionally, that's what the majority of their employee base is. So.
What's next?
These are the Pierre County staff counts. There we're able to pull for IT, maintenance, buildings, and purchasing. That's
Staff
page-
count,
Did we miss it?
For page 21,
Staff count.
and which I think you were referencing already.
Oh, okay, Superior County staff count.
Pierre County staff count, where on average for these three departments, the Pierre counties have a higher staff count. For purchasing, maintenance, buildings, and IT, and then
God, what does Lubbock do?
Lubbock, that's across the board for most departments in Lubbock. They just have a large workforce.
Funny you should mention that. I got a phone call from them today asking specific questions about counts. They're actually looking to outsource some of their departments because not being happy with counts and numbers and cost.
Interesting. See.
Yeah, that whole data right there, how many campuses, you know, how old the buildings, how new the buildings, oh, there's all
Right,
kinds
it's a
of
very,
things.
kind of just fly-by data point
Yeah.
there. It doesn't, it's one piece of a larger puzzle, right? We need more context, how many facilities, how many employees are they supporting? Is that service department supporting? And so there's a lot of other factors. It's just one piece there of the context you likely need to help make your decision. Next, these are position reclassification. So they're existing positions, but the requesting department is wanting to make a change to the position. Some of the changes, most of the changes are coming with a salary increase request. Some of them are not. Those highlighted in orange there, those are IT requests, and we just met on Tuesday, have some additional context there, so that is still being worked out. I need to revise those, because I think we have come to
I know we're on the page and everybody's looking at the same thing, but I do want to reference something that applies to both 1 and 4, is that we're combining some positions. And in 1, I know I've asked for that senior equipment operator position, which has some, what word am I trying to say?
what are we, what are we looking at?
Down at the bottom.
And reclassifications.
Down the bottom. Actually, Ben and I are combining a one position and handling POs and things like that.
You are, yes. And so that's that very last line item.
And then the mechanic, the senior operator also has some mechanic duties and that's one of the things that we looked at that he's working at. But we're also giving up a position that we had before, that administrative position out there. So the net difference is, actually, between those two numbers, there's actually a reduction in total cost.
Right.
And
And that's
I
why
would support anybody else that can come up with that same solution.
Yes, and that's why I have a little asterisk on the cost, because then I explain HR support specialist is outlier position and admin assistant position will support 2 precincts. And so, yes, that'll be you're applying the model that you currently have in place for your executive assistant. You're applying that same model for the administrative position that you actually have out at the yard.
Yeah, and
where you're-
they'll operate out of 4, but we'll have access to them.
Exactly. So, you're consolidating
And
positions. And then the senior equipment operator position, you're requesting that reclass, but it is in line with the quantity of senior
I
positions.
think the savings is about $14,000 total between those 2 positions and not hiring that other person.
Right. And so, the amount of seniors is not anything, it's in line with
Well,
what,
our equipment's on an average almost 5 years older than any other precinct. And I'm probably gonna pull request for a $400,000 piece of equipment simply to try to hold the budget that we need. But we're gonna wait 1 more year and see if we can work through it. I'm just letting y'all know that. Pat on the back. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So I already pulled. Already pulled
Yeah. I mean,
yesterday.
in my mind, if we're gonna ask everybody else to do some cutting, we've gotta, even though we're already lean and mean, we gotta figure out how to
Get leaner and meaner.
get leaner and meaner ourselves, I guess.
we have a few others on these that, one of them I already mentioned, it's the Constable Precinct 4, where they're just asking for one of their deputies to be that chief deputy that they don't have, that the other precincts do have. We have a request from the Maintenance of Buildings Department for one of their coordinator positions. I'm still awaiting additional information on that. And we have 3 deputies out of the sheriff's office. They're requesting that those be reclassified to investigator positions. So these folks are the ones conducting the background checks on new hires. And we don't have enough data to assess this request. We surveyed the other peer counties to see kind of amongst their positions, what positions are conducting these new hire background checks, and it varies. There's no consistent process. And so I'm kind of pitching that back to the court for y'all's own assessment, because we have law enforcement folks on the court who are going to be able to determine what is y'all's threshold for what you consider an investigator. I think you guys are going to know better than we are, HR. So I think I'm leaving that one at the courts.
I think after the visit that I had with the chief the other day is when they come to present, we're gonna see over the years, the increase in calls, increase in investigations and all those things, because we haven't seen that, I don't think, in the last couple of years. It might be helpful in making all these decisions to see what the caseload has increased by. How many more cases are an investigator looking into now than they were previously?
These are just these are just hires that they're investigating. They're not investigating criminal cases. It would just be someone, background check. They've applied, so they're going through and questioning
So
previous
all 3 of
employers.
these are for,
Background checks of incoming hires. So that's where we didn't have good information, consistent information to see what practices are in place for other peer counties. At what rank do they have these investigations happening at? Or is it an investigator that is doing this? Is it a base deputy doing this? Does a background check like this meet a threshold for an investigator level position? That's where I would rely back on the court. Y'all have law enforcement experience, so I feel like,
I've seen it done both ways.
yeah.
City of Waco did it, and you do it with a officer that gets assigned to it. And then I know there's some smaller agencies around here that they hand it to an investigator.
Yeah, it's just, well, like for us, the High Patrol was Trooper 2, a higher, it's not a rank, it's just a year, 4 years or more, you could do backgrounds. So it wasn't a pay extra. Except you didn't have to investigate crashes for a while.
And then we have the last one to cover there is the sheriff's office. Again, they have a clerk position that they would like to repurpose as the public information / digital media officer, and that's being requested because of the requirement for a PIO under House Bill 33.
And that might be something, just in conversation with the incoming, county judge, that is something that's on his radar as well, because of the size of the county.
PI person?
Yeah, so I would hate to go, okay, and then, so if we could coordinate on that somehow, or,
But they're saying that they currently have employed a clerk who is at 43,220. Is that correct?
Yes, that's an existing
And they're going to
position.
change their title to Public Information Digital Media Officer. Is this clerk already when you say officer, you don't mean a law enforcement officer, you just mean a title officer.
Right, this is not a law enforcement
So
position.
that person is going to go from 43,220 to 65,000, the same person?
That position, I believe, is vacant. I don't think that there's anybody in it. They're just repurposing a vacant position. And so I'd also kind of want some guidance, possibly from Dustin or Mike, on the House bill. It does identify the county sheriff and also the county as needing that, and I'm not sure if having one position meets both requirements, or if there even are two requirements, or they're one and the same, and so I have a question about that. But it is being prompted by legislation, so.
Do we have, and this may be a question for John, do we have software in place that when the public makes an open record request, it's able to pull that through software, or is that all done by person?
We don't have countywide software. The sheriff's office does have software for their part of it.
That pulls public information when it's requested?
And then some comes to our office, and we pull it.
Right. But they're asking for that full-time person to be able to do that,
Yeah.
and we have software, okay. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Next are the elected official groups and the department head groups. And so we did have one elected official submit a request for salary increase. And that's the line item there highlighted in purple. So because of that request, I went ahead and just and providing the court the entire list of elected officials whose salaries are completely budgeted through the county. So like, you're not going to see the DA on here, the district judges, because those are state, primarily state-funded positions. And so here, I do want to highlight the comp ratios for the commissioners because they seem extremely high, but now of the list of peer agencies that we're using, there's only one peer agency that that operates like McLennan, where they do not have a unit or shared road system. And I believe that's Jefferson. And so when you just isolate Jefferson, commissioner salaries are actually lower than that county. Just wanted to highlight that. The last piece is the department heads that I usually also typically kind of highlight on their own. And that pink highlight there, we do have the county engineer who submitted a salary increase request, and pretty tame. They just want to be placed at a 0.90. They're at a 0.86. So the salary requested is $145,725. And because it's at a 0.9, I reviewed all the department heads, and there is another director who's not at a 0.9. That's the purchasing director. So I've put that amount in there as well. And I also have included that as an HR initiated. Even though that director did not submit a salary increase request, I've gone ahead and incorporated that as an HR initiated request.
And that would be two that I upfront wouldn't have a problem moving them to both 9.90, to be honest with you. I think that's fair.
So I've included that, even though they didn't submit I included that in the large kind of one-by-one request sheet that we'll go through in detail. But this is, again, a snapshot of where all the comp ratios are. And I'm sorry, I didn't highlight Director of Veteran Services, but the Director of Veteran Services did also submit a salary increase request, but they're at a 0.95 already.
He's already at 0.95?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's my last slide. And so that's the big overview. And I don't know if we're at a point where we want to pause until my next scheduled date where we go through the large spreadsheet together. Or if you want to start it now, we can start it now.
Pretty
I
detailed,
thought that was pretty
Yeah.
detailed there. I think,
Like,
waive you need to plead the fifth or something.
so it's 4 o'clock, and, what do y'all want to do?
It's up to you, Judge.
I want to interject something while we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Going back to the general fund budget worksheet, which has the yellows and the dark blues and the light blues. And we talked about total revenue versus the difference between total revenue and total expenditures. And then the additional increases that we've talked about today, that's like a gap of $19 million. Unless we're willing to increase the tax rate 6 cents to cover it, we got to come up with some cuts. And that's bottom line.
Pretty much every
That was
year.
pretty simple,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
That it took a genius from figure that
gotta-
out, didn't it?
You got a firm grip on reality.
I got a firm grip on reality.
And I do think that number, kind of an all-in number, I think as tomorrow and Friday progress, as Anna's able to go through her detail, a lot of that we can.
Yeah, we'll be able to
take
pull
off
some out.
quickly,
19 million?
That's the plan, though. Whatever, it's, just, we just need to weigh in on each request and each item,
Solve,
including
okay,
personnel.
solve that problem. 19 million, please.
Fine, $19 million.
Before Friday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been
I
looking.
think that's important to point out. For those that don't have the papers in front of them, they're listening, is how big that deficit
Yeah.
is. So.
Yeah. If everybody's
What-
wish list, won't list, already added on to the department expenditure, won't list, wish list.
Mr.
That's
Johnson.
$19 million gap.
Yeah.
On this main summary, so there's about, let's see,
I stopped sharing them if you want to.
Thank you, Anna.
Is that in the archives, Pete?
I can't. Y'all got loaded in, $4.8 million in that, what's that total? Other than the outside entities, those are all salary considerations, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so Anna is proposing 2.6. Correct.
Let me go back to.
That's just salary costs, like the numbers that Francis has included are.
What is that number? What is the total of the non-step, the COLA, the new positions, the salary increases and other?
1.6, and step is 4.
Honors doesn't include benefits.
Right.
Yours includes benefits.
Yes, there's
Okay.
other considerations. So I think if you take that sheet that Anna had,
The 2.6?
that sheet that Anna had here, so that 1.6 equates to what we have is the little over 2 million. And so we'll continue to tweak it as needed. The new position number, excuse me,
I don't
that's
have,
not the, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I don't have a total for
The
that.
salary increases would be
that's if all of them were approved.
38,
right?
139, that would replace that 507,000. I'm making this more confusing. I guess we don't really have a number of your recommendations for new positions as of yet, but
Right, so
So will this pop up here when I do this? Okay.
Yeah, that new positions is assuming all, like approval of all positions.
That's if, yeah, you approved everyone.
Yes, our numbers are worst case. I say worst case,
It's all in,
all inclusive.
because we don't know what would be
All
your,
inclusive sounds
your
better than worst
decision.
case, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, she caught herself, she caught herself in
All
mid-sentence.
inclusive.
And can I ask about the outside entity request? Is that 1.3 million, is that extra from last year?
Where do you get 1.3?
Yes, that's the extra from last year.
Okay, but where is last year's at in this
So
category?
we go
Here's
ahead and
a-
load in what the current budget was. It just makes it easier for discussion purposes. So that, when you go to those departments, you'll see,
But we can
Agency
look
aid.
back at some of those.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working through the next.
Everything's
next
on the
couple
table.
days.
So this 1.675 is current.
That's new request.
That's new.
That's up and above.
Up and above old outside
Oh,
entities?
yes, okay, that came new today.
Say what?
Yeah.
Say that again now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Any increase
It
in
was
new
one
requests?
point, it was
That's
0.3.
it, that's the increase of the entities that we currently have?
Can I see that?
Last year, or
Plus new. So you have Salvation Army, you have fire protection and their communication project that they talked about yesterday. Some of those just add up quickly.
Animal shelter,
Animal
library.
shelter, those would all be.
library contracted.
And we will go through each of those line by line.
Yeah.
And look at those, so. But
got
can
that
I get
in there, I
back to what
forgot.
Commissioner Jones, you were asking? Those numbers I just kind of added in, like, that's Arcola, the new positions, I guess I'll just leave that there until we talk through them. But then salary increases, Anna was recommending 139,000. I didn't add anything else for other pay types.
Yeah.
Didn't sound like,
The other pay types were the FTO and
that was
PTO.
the new certificate pay, the overtime, and the on-call
On-call
for
pay.
maintenance. So things that we don't currently use. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, the increase.
Yeah.
But we'll keep chipping away at that.
A lot of work.
6 pennies?
So actually, it's $28 million delta that we have. And that, not 19, but 28.
Just on this sheet,
Oh, when you go down the bottom line here, yeah.
it'll be,
You just made me feel worse. Oh, to get to the target fund balance? Is that what you're saying?
it's right over 20 million, based on what we have in there today. Your difference between your revenues and your,
But if you add in these additional increases,
that's including that.
Yeah, they're already in, I
It's
think.
6.4.
27,822. I think
what's
that's what we
the,
was
then
talking about.
what is the 28,653,961 number then?
That's just the ending fund balance, right?
Yes, that would be your ending fund balance after, if you approved.
Everything.
Everything.
Did I just mess this up?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
That would be our ending fund balance
yes. I thought when I
after
deleted
we
some of it.
approve, if we approved everything
Yes.
based on our revenue.
Yes.
But the 6.4 million is up into that 19 million, right? You're not adding the 6.4.
Yes,
and
no,
the
it's,
19.
no, it's, the 6.4 is added to the difference between the 154 and the 167. See, that's
Your delta
13.
is $28 million.
So that 28 million right here, that's
Yep.
that would be your ending fund balance.
No. You've got to see your little, it's in 12. No, I can't read. In 32. In 32.
Oh, right here.
In 32.
Bingo.
That's off of
Bingo.
your, so that's your difference between, that's your difference away from your target fund balance. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't seeing that.
Yeah,
That's your delta.
$6.5 million.
I think he was talking about the difference between revenues and expenditures.
Yeah.
That's why I was,
Well, yeah, when I said
It's not 19 million, it's 28 million.
13 plus 6, there's,
if you're trying to get to 33%.
if you're trying to get to 33%, it's almost, yeah, it's $28 million.
Yes.
And so you run over here to tax info, And we've only got $23 million available.
Our VA.
Yep.
That's what I've been trying to say. No.
That's a problem.
Yes, sir.
Well, we will and I don't know if we were gonna still, I didn't wanna, if Anna was still gonna continue, if you wanted her to
That's
continue.
up to the court.
So what's your next thing you were gonna talk about?
So the next thing we typically do from here, once I do this big overview, is that we go through the actual request sheet and go through each individual request. We usually go through it by department. This is the sheet here. I could pull it up so just you could see. What we're working with.
We can do what y'all want, but a lot of times when you get into, you wanna take out that whole deal, you don't wanna stop in the middle and go home and sleep on it, and then you forget, and then,
I agree too, that's
Take it all
3 and
in.
2 for sure.
So this is the sheet that we typically go through. And we filter, first we start either with new positions or salary, new positions, because that's the larger chunk of the increase. And so that's what I have it filtered to now. These are all the new position requests. And then you can see the HR, sorry, you probably can't
see
see
that.
because, yeah. I need to make it bigger.
It would be very simple to say no new positions, therefore we're through.
So there I have
this year?
you have the total increase there, the dollar amount. This is just salary right here that you're seeing at the bottom. And I have the HR assessment, which is based on that work volume information that I presented earlier. We have yeses on, there's data here that could support it. We don't have data, which is an N, or the work volume doesn't support it, and then O's if we're still waiting information. And so this is the sheet that I'm talking about. I have individual salary requests filtered out.
You know, there are governments left and right that are cutting positions.
so I think, maybe a good way to approach this tomorrow is, take all the ones, if the court agrees on a consensus, and we're not voting, to take all the ones that she says we don't support, she doesn't support, take those out right now,
Take them out right now.
yeah.
It's 3,
And then,
4, 5, 6.
and then just start working, and then where she says we do support, we'll look at them. We'll look at them objectively, but we also are gonna keep in mind the
We gotta keep the
position.
bottom line.
Yeah, the bottom line.
And I'm working from, and I'll be honest with you, Judge, I listen to anybody else's thoughts on it, but I'm working from 0,
Yeah.
honestly. There's one, because he's asked for 2 or 3 years and we've said no, and he shows to be one behind the average on, and that's our purchasing position. To give him some help. Other than that, I don't know that we've got a lot of choice. We can't cut enough paper and pencils out to make the difference.
No, you're
No,
operational.
I agree, but I do think that we ought to do the work of those that there's some kind of basic reason that she thought that at least they ought to be looked at, that we give the respect to those that ask.
And I don't disagree, but the other side of that is,
Yeah,
where's the money?
yeah, no doubt.
Show me the money.
Where's 6
This is
cents
more
gonna come
of a-
from? Where's 6 cents gonna come from?
And I think if we do add those positions, we may, I won't say have to, but we're gonna have to be willing to look at the tax rate also on the other side.
No, we're gonna have to. I don't see how we. But we'll, you know, you can eat not a watermelon, an elephant, one bite at a time. And,
Well, I like the watermelon. I still suggest one bite at a time on watermelon, but anyway, that's.
It's just, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation we're in, but we've been blessed for so many
no doubt,
years.
I agree 100%. I'm just saying, the folks that did the work out there, and they want us to look at the deal, and that's just out of respect, we ought to look at it. And
Well, a lot of those, we've already had the opportunity to meet with those people.
Yeah.
And then present it to us also. So,
And I do
I
think,
don't disagree, and I'm not saying they're not needed, I'm just saying, how are we gonna pay for it?
yeah,
And I do think this, the adds to staff, this likely will be the section there's the most deliberation on, because the individual salary increases, although there's more of them, those are largely, the yeses and nos from HR are very largely based on the compensation ratio. And we filtered those down to 9 that we would flag for the court to look at and review. So those we should be able to get through rather quickly.
And my last statement, y'all have heard me say before and thrown things at me, is it's not so much what everybody else is doing, it's what we can afford to do.
That's right. No, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, what can we afford
Yeah,
to
we
do?
look at these resources and guidelines and those kind of things, but still, it's our decisions. Yeah, we're the ones that have to answer the taxpayers at the end of the day.
Yep. I would be for meeting back in the morning on this and Anna sending us that sheet, that one sheet to look at, so I have something bigger than the
It's in
screen.
the budget,
It's probably in the packet.
Right.
Is it in the,
the budget folder, the salary,
that page right there is in the salary? Okay, because I thought I pulled off everything. I didn't remember. What's that under? Salary?
It's in Drive under, it's the
I
date
couldn't-
and then salary request summary.
It says salary request summary down at the bottom on let's see what you're looking at.
I'll email you the link, that way you can pin
Okay,
it.
okay, yeah. No, I'm okay.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
It's a lot,
I know where she's talking about now.
a lot out.
I thought there was, down the long menu list, there was a big one, but you're talking about, yeah.
It's its own separate thing. And then am I scheduled tomorrow?
You are now.
We are flexible to make these,
I will
that's kind of always how we are.
Yes.
So I do have some individuals coming tomorrow to talk through operating, but we could go ahead and just start with you first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll get to what I needed to do later. I think we had people coming about 9:30, so we could get through 30 minutes, and then I can also push these out if needed. But we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Throughout the day.
I can be right here and
Yeah, I do think that we need to finish with Anna.
Yes.
Talking specific, because I think we're gonna be able to move some numbers with the conversation with her
Yes.
tomorrow into consensus.
And really
The
don't
ones I
have
have
a choice.
early tomorrow, I'll try to get a hold of and we can see if we can kind of push those down so that you're not interrupted. Okay. Ideal.
yes.
All right,
I know for one, and hopefully we have other folks listening, we all have to be willing to give something up. And
Yeah.
if I've asked for something again this year, give it up again this year. But
Well-
that's not sustainable. There's no way to work with this request or this ask.
Yeah, we got hit real hard this year. I mean, it's,
I
I mean,
agree
it's my
with you,
second year,
Commissioner.
but it was not like that last year, so.
I agree.
okay, so we're posted for tomorrow on new posting, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so, there's not anything else to come before the court. We stand adjourned.